everybody, this is Jessica with Mom Talk TV. Happy Friday. I hope you guys all had a good week. Well, 2 weeks. I'm sorry I wasn't on last week. The week got the better of me. We had company, appointments, a lot of stuff keeping me busy, and I'm sorry I did not get to my video last week. But from mom to mom, I'm sure you guys all understand when life gets a little bit too hairy, you have to face the fact that you're not going to get everything accomplished that you want to get accomplished. But let's get right to this week's topic, which is adding to our family. Adding to my family, we have one son, if you didn't know. Adding to my family isn't as easy as saying, honey, let's make a baby, because as many of you know, we did do IVF to have Bobby. And IVF is not covered by our insurance, so it's incredibly expensive. If it were not for the expense of in vitro fertilization, I would have been ready to have a baby probably 8 months to a year after I had my son. As hard as my pregnancy was, I had gestational diabetes and was on 3 months of strict bed rest for preterm labor. As difficult as the pregnancy was, it was one of the greatest times of my life, and I couldn't wait to feel that again. We have done, since he's been born, we have done, let's see, 4 IUIs, and we have done 1 micro IVF, none of which worked. Unfortunately, they all failed. When we got pregnant with Bobby, we transferred 3 embryos. So we were faced with the possibility of, if all 3 of them took, which would have been a miracle, and I would have welcomed a miracle, and I adore the miracle that I have before me, so I do not regret anything about how my son came to be, but we potentially could have had 3 children. And if that were the case, if all 3 of them took and we had triplets, we would have been absolutely done. Our dream that we have discussed since we've been together, even before we were engaged to be married, was to have 2 or 3 kids. 2 or 3, that's the most. I am an only child. My husband is the middle of 5. So we both agree. He loves his siblings as crazy as they make him. He loves having brothers and sisters, and I always wanted a big brother. And it's so funny because everybody always asks you after you find out what you're having or after the baby is born, and they'll say, you know, are you happy that it's a boy? And of course the right thing to say is always, I would have been happy if it were a boy or a girl, and you know, just as long as the baby was healthy. And I do feel that way from the very bottom of my heart. But when I knew I was having a boy, the first thing that I thought was, he's going to be a big brother. No matter what, if I have a girl for my next baby, if I have a boy for my next baby, he's going to have a big brother, or she's going to have a big brother. And man, when you look at my son, he's really destined to be a big brother. He's so wonderful with children, and he loves babies. So like I was saying, we did a few procedures from the time that he was born, and none of them had worked. Let's go back to last summer. Last summer, we were financially and mentally ready to go ahead and do a full stimulation IVF. We were ready. I had my appointment set for June. We wanted to do this in July. Not like it's my first rodeo. I've been around the IVF block and, you know, fertility doctors and REs, and, you know, I know this was just going to be like a refresher course and to sign some paperwork and, you know, to set up the delivery of my medications. I knew what I was in for. I knew what to expect. And I had that appointment set up, and then 3 days before my appointment, I was, you know, my husband rushed me to the hospital because we thought that I was having a heart attack. And it turns out that it wasn't having a heart attack at all, thank God. But they were telling me that this was a result of my Graves' disease. And I said, well, what are you talking about, Graves' disease? Apparently, I've had Graves' disease for I don't know how long, and I didn't even know it. But this is a horrible thing to have if you're trying to conceive, because it makes it very difficult to maintain a pregnancy. And every decision I feel that I make, and as TTCers, and you know, I know Melissa will vouch for me, it's almost like every decision that we make based on the future of our children, even if they don't exist yet. Does that make any sense at all? I know that I'm going to have another baby, so I knew that I had to get myself to be the healthiest body possible. So the decision was an easy one to make, but it was hard to decide what route to take. We wanted to get ready to do IVF right away, and the only way to do that, my fertility doctor, and we did go to another fertility doctor for a second opinion, but we're staying with my original doctor. The census was to basically, you can't go through this fertility treatment with an out of control thyroid. You can't go through this with Graves' disease. Again, the expense and the disappointment and the heartache. So I want to prevent that from happening. So I had to make the decision to lose my thyroid. I could have had a surgery and had my thyroid surgically removed, and I would have been able to, you know, for all intents and purposes, started my injections the minute that my thyroid came out. But I'm a singer, and your thyroid's really close to your vocal cords, so my husband and I weren't comfortable with me making that decision. So the other option was I could take medication, but the medication that they wanted to give me, because my Graves' disease was so out of control after reading on the internet, causes severe birth defects. So that was out. And it left us with one last option, which was a radioactive iodine ablation, where you take a pill that's a radioactive pill and it burns your thyroid out. So the hardest part about that was not only did I have to basically quarantine myself from my family and have no physical contact with my son for 8 days, which killed me, I also had to wait an allotted amount of time before we could start trying to conceive because of the level of radioactivity in my body. Not that I couldn't get pregnant, but the chances of me miscarrying were far too great to even try it. So for the last for the last 7 months, I've been on birth control. Me, infertile Myrtle, going and filling my birth control pill prescription. How ridiculous is that? But I took birth control. So we are finally at a place right now where we can start trying to have a baby. Now, the way I look at it, my body is so different today than it was a year ago that we are going to try to do this naturally until, you know, until July. So if nothing comes of that by July, we know what we have to do. But the way I see it is my body is completely different. I no longer have a thyroid. I have been just trying to cope with my hypothyroidism. I've been exercising and I've been watching what I eat. So yes, I've weighed less in my life, but I've never been so strong. I don't feel like I've ever been so healthy. I work out 4 days a week. I eat right. I haven't, you know, I was on birth control for, you know, many months. I kind of feel that I want to give my new body a chance at this because it's not the same body that I had a year ago. God, what a long story. I'm so sorry. You know, I apologize for going on and on about this. So that is it from me. I'm hoping that, you know, you guys like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to Mom Talk TV yet, that you do so. And if you have any mommy friends, pass us along to them. If you have any questions for me about, you know, what I went through with my thyroid or anything that has to do with any of our journeys into parenthood, suggestions, comments, critiques for us, please leave everything below. We read them and we appreciate it. And I just want to say thanks for watching. And I hope that you guys have a really, really great week. We will not be back next week. We do take the last week of the month off. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.